Yeah, happy morning, friends, and welcome back after this deep meditation. So, we are all too excited and happy to listen to Dr. Kaajal here today, the writer, author of the book, And I Thought Only Monks Could Meditate. In fact, all of us thought that only monks could meditate, and this was not our cup of tea, a few years back. But now, when we are on this journey within, slowly, we are discovering, deep secrets within ourselves, which we had never ever pondered to think about. And we are also happy because all the problems of our life, whether it is our mental stress, our physical ailments, our relationship problems, everything is falling in place as we have learned to be with ourselves for some time in the morning and just before sleeping. So, Kajal ma'am, it's a pleasure, honor, and delight to have you with us today. Could you just add yourself? Oh, yeah, there you are. Hi, Dr. Kaajal. And
Hi there.
we are also excited to hear about your new book, which you have written. The title is so interesting, so intriguing. We really want to hear what you have to say. And without any further ado, I'm giving the platform over to you, Dr. Kaajal.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jaspreet. And thank you so much,
Yes,
dear
ma'am.
friends. Thank you so much, dear friends, for joining in on a Sunday morning, early in the morning. It's not easy to wake up and sit for meditation. I mean, if you've been following all of this for quite some time, then obviously, well, friends. So here I am, and I have authored this book. I would first like to show you the book, just in case you have not had a look. So, this is my book, which is called And I Thought Only Monks Could Meditate, a true story of change and creating miracles, transformation and creating miracles, actually. So, friends, I work with Delhi University, and since childhood, I have had a literary streak. I was always a good writer, always a good speaker. But not in my wildest dreams had I thought that one day I would have a book in my name. So, I mean, writing a paragraph or two to please your teacher and to get a good on it is one thing, but to come up with a book is quite another, as I discovered in the course of my journey. So, I'll first tell you a little bit about my journey. I began meditation in 2017. That was the time, people generally ask me what brought you to meditation. So I had to really look within what actually brought me to meditation, because my job, my health, my relationships, more or less fine. So people find it strange that stepped into meditation not from a space of lack. So, when in the year was 2017, I had just finished writing my PhD. I mean, I was in the last legs of my writing my PhD, and this was something I always wanted to do. I had always wanted to write research papers. I had always wanted to have doctor prefix before my name, and now that it was very well within sight, it had lost its sheen for me already, and that upset me, because at every juncture in my life, I have always thought that no, I'm not satisfied at this point. वो मिल जाएगा तो ज्यादा खुशी हो जाएगी, तब मैं खुश होंगी. I had gotten the what I wanted, in the academic world, and yet I was so empty, so hollow within. It made me question. My PhD degree made me question what I really wanted in life. I had worked so hard for my PhD. For years, you slog for your PhD for years. It's not easy to be at it. It gets very tiring, it gets very exhausting. So at least I wanted to feel that sense of accomplishment, that yes, I've accomplished something. Nothing like that. So this was a moment, you can say the dark night of the soul moment for me. And I realized intuitively at that very moment कि खुशी मुझे यहाँ पर मिलने नहीं वाली. ये कोई और ही प्लेस है जहां पर कि मैं खुश होंगी, satisfied होंगी. It's my happiness is not tied to material things. I realized at that very instant. And it was in 2017 then that I turned to meditation. And turning to meditation is also a very interesting story. I started checking out, Vipassana on the internet. That was the only name I knew of. So I'm checking out Vipassana and I realized that, one has to stay away from home and family for 15 days. And my baby was very little at that point of time. So, this possibility was not there of me abandoning things and just going for a Vipassana retreat. That possibility wasn't there. So I started check out check out on internet what all meditation centers were close by. And at that point of time, PMC, pyramid meditation, these were not big names. I mean, वो होता है ना, आप सर्च करते हो तो जो बहुत ऑफन सर्च होता है वो ऊपर आता है, तो बहुत सारी वेबसाइट्स खुली और मुझे लगा दिस इज अ न्यू प्रॉब्लम नाउ, दिस इज अ प्रॉब्लम ऑफ प्लेंटी. अब समझ ही नहीं आ रहा, यहाँ तो इतनी सारी टेक्निक्स हैं. बट वन थिंग caught my eye, and that was the word pyramid. And I quickly found out where the center was. And the very Sunday, I went to Pyramid Meditation Center, Sabdajang Enclave. And as luck would have it, I had only just started, and the very next week, Brahmrishi Pitama Patri sir was in Delhi at the center. So I was not a member of the core group, but somehow I got to know that Patri sir is here, and I was so looking forward to meeting him. And this is how my journey began. But how did the writing of the book begin? That is another very interesting story. तो ऐसा लगता था कि बुक तो कोई और लिखते हैं, हम तो सिर्फ बुक रीड करते हैं. वो बुक लिखने वाले ऑथर्स तो बहुत बड़े बड़े ऑथर्स होते हैं. तो ये परसेप्शन था कि नहीं, बुक तो लिखना कोई अलग ही बात होती है. तो 2020 में क्या हुआ कि 2021 that I got to translate a New York Times bestseller. It is called And I Have Decided to Live 120 Years. So I got to translate this book to Hindi. Now, firstly, my Hindi and English were always good, but the confidence that you could write a book in Hindi, Hindi बोलना एक बात होती है, हिंदी को लिखना बिल्कुल अलग बात होती है. But my own these belief systems were getting shattered. तो मुझे कल लगा कि सर ने ही काम दिया है, पत्री सर ने, तो ये काम तो करना ही है, come what may. So I translated this New York Times bestseller. I have decided to live 120 years by the Korean author Ilchi Lee. वहां से कॉन्फिडेंस आया कि अरे बुक तो लिख सकते हैं भाई. तो मैं सोचने लगी कि अब मैं नेक्स्ट बुक कौन सी ट्रांसलेट करूंगी. I started getting a lot of offers for translating books. I was thinking कौन सी book, which book, ये book difficult रहेगी. My USP has always been, whether in the field of education, in the field of lecturing, in the field of writing, my USP has always been my very relatable and easy style. I hate it when people make things heavy. That's not my style at all. So, I started penning. So this book came out. 120 years को मैंने हिंदी में translate किया, वो book release हुई. And interestingly, it was the very last book that Pitama Patri sir released before he vacated his body. तो ये बड़ी स्पेशल बुक थी मेरे लिए. मुझे कोई कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं था कि मैं बुक लिख सकती हूँ, और हिंदी बुक लिख सकती हूँ, ये तो बिल्कुल कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं था. बट वो बुक आई, it had to come, and it did. I got a little confidence. अब क्या हुआ 2021 में, तो मुझे नहीं मालूम था मेरी जर्नी एज एन ऑथर स्टार्ट हो चुकी है. I did not know. I didn't have an inkling. 2022, I was getting this intuition again and again that I have to write a bestseller. And what is a bestseller? I didn't even know that. Bestseller किस चिड़िया का नाम होता है मुझे नहीं मालूम था. So I'm thinking, okay, I have to write a bestseller. फिर मुझे लगा अरे मेरी सब imagination है. When you come into meditation, you also think that you perhaps are imagining things too much. And imagination is not bad. It is a very fertile, creative faculty that we all are gifted with. But still, you think that that I'm perhaps imagining things too much. So, but friends, ये बात इतनी बड़ी.
Some exertion. Exertion is part of exercise. It is not phalam of exercise.
Kindly switch off your mics. Just a minute. I'll do it.
Then what happens, there should be no other phalam later. Good health.
Somebody's mic is on. Okay. I think it's taken care. Yeah. Sorry for that. Carry on.
No. So I have lost track of where I was. So I was telling you guys that 2021, I started getting this, 2022, I started getting this intuition that I had to write a bestseller. I didn't know what a bestseller was. I didn't know what made a book a bestseller. I just had a very strong feeling that I had to write a book. Now, on what topic would I write a book? Well, how do you decide the topic? When in school, I would write a paragraph, that would always be a commissioned work, in the sense that your teacher would tell you that, okay, you write a paragraph on this, you write a paragraph on that. Here, who was telling me what was I to write? And I was no third eye master. Third eye masters have a very fertile, not imagination, I would say, though sometimes it can be imagination too. So I'm thinking कि मैं किसकी topic पे book लिखूंगी? मुझे तो third eye visions भी नहीं आती. So what would I write a book on? And then I rubbished it all, thinking कि मेरी पूरी imagination है. सच में मुझे मैं क्या ही लिखूंगी, मुझे कौन ही पढ़ेगा? मैं तो third eye master भी नहीं हूँ. This was friends, I'm sharing this with you to tell you that we are so filled with self-doubt that we can be creators of something. So but what happened was that I shared this with my husband that, okay, I don't know why I'm getting this intuition again and again that I have to write a bestseller. And, he patted my back and he said, very good, Kaajal. And, at least तुम और तुम्हारी बहन तो इस book को पढ़ ही लोगे, और कोई नहीं तो. He was making fun of both of us. I'm very close to my sister. And he was telling me that in this whole wide world, at least one person would read your book, and that would be your sister. And that was another jolt to my confidence. And I was saying, okay, I'm imagining things. But friends, ये चीजें इतनी बड़ी हो गई, वो इतनी बड़ी हो गई, मुझे ऐसा लगा that my head would explode if I would not write. सोते, उठते, जागते, every time this book is on my mind, ideas are popping into my mind, and I just thought that I would go mad if I would not write the book. It was as if this book was waiting to be birthed through me. And my biggest block was thinking that I'm no third eye master, which is fine. Not everyone has to be. Everyone got their own gifts. So I started writing the book, and I thought, ठीक है, जो मन में आएगा, मैं अपना लैपटॉप लेकर बैठ गई थी. ठीक है, जो आएगा देखा जाएगा, लिखेंगे जो भी होगा. And I started writing the book, and the first draft, the very initial draft was ready. When I got to know that Patri sir was, his health was failing. But sir had always told us that he would be around till 2095. So I was like, no, nothing like that is going to happen. But one fine day, I get a call saying that we are all going to meet Patri sir there in Kartal pyramid. And it was then that the gravity of the situation kind of, I just had an inkling of the gravity of the situation, and I thought, okay, I would go and meet sir. Book का first draft ready हो गया था. I reached there and he was in a very bad shape. But my conscious mind was not willing to accept that sir was going to go, because he had told us all that he would be around till 2095. So we were all very very safe and secure in that knowledge. And sir ऐसे ही कोई बात नहीं बोलते थे. So I saw him and I was like, oh shit, I should have brought my book along. At least उसका print out ले आती, एक बार सर को दिखा देती. I could see that उनके मुंह में पानी भी नहीं रुक रहा था, वो पानी चम्मच से उनको पिला रहे थे, आप उनके सिर्फ दर्शन कर सकते थे बाहर से. और फिर मैं सोचू कि नहीं, मुझे अपनी बुक लानी चाहिए थी सर को दिखाने के लिए. मतलब मेरे लिए बड़ा ही जोल्ट था that when that very same day sir vacated his body. It was a huge jolt for me, for many of us, because we were always very safe and secure in the knowledge that sir is going to be around till 2095. And when I came back, when I was back there in Kartal, I got this opportunity to meditate next to sir's body. Many people were meditating. There was a queue for his darshans, and I was sitting on the floor and I was meditating. And friends, that day, that was a very big day, in the sense that I realized कि एक गुरु की जो शरीर है उसमें भी कितनी एनर्जी रहती है. मतलब द जो आत्मा तत्व था उसने शरीर को छोड़ दिया था, लेकिन वो शरीर जिसने उस बॉडी उस आत्मा तत्व को हाउस किया था, that was also a reservoir of such immense energies. Normally when I sit in meditation, थोड़ी time तो लगता है meditative state में जाने के लिए, because there are things on your mind, that the whole day is on your mind, and it takes some time to get into meditative state. But that day, within seconds, next to sir's body, I slipped into the deepest of deep meditative states. I just lost sense of time. I just lost sense of space. I lost sense of the fact what I was there at Kartal for. I had completely gone beyond space and time, and I had entered into that no space, no time state. और वो भी ऐसे बस आंख बंद करी और आप उस स्टेट में चले गए. तो उस दिन रियलाइज किया कि गुरु का जो शरीर है वो भी कितना एनर्जी का रिजर्वॉयर है. ये बात मैं जानती थी, मैंने ये बात पढ़ी थी. I had read this. Osho has often spoken about it. Osho would often give the examples of Tibetan great masters whose bodies were preserved in secret. क्योंकि वो बॉडी में सारी एक वो बॉडी मेमोरी होती है जो सेल्यूलर मेमोरी होती है. तो दैट डे आई रियलाइज्ड, ये फर्स्ट हैंड एक्सपीरियंस फ्रेंड्स मुझे पहली बार हुआ कि एक गुरु का शरीर जो जिसमें से प्राण निकल चुके हैं वो भी कितनी एनर्जीज का रिजर्वॉयर है. खैर वापस आ गया दिल्ली, और वापस आके फ्रेंड्स मैंने क्या रियलाइज किया, एकदम से इंट्यूशन आया कि इसलिए मुझे बार बार ये इंट्यूशन आ रहा था कि मुझे एक बेस्ट सेलर लिखनी है. तो वो डे था फ्रेंड्स जब मैं वापस आई, एंड व्हेन आई लुक्ड एट माय ड्राफ्ट अगेन, oh my god, my whole perspective had changed. My writing style, my content, my delivery after those last moments with sir had gone up several notches. It was unbelievable. I realized that it was sir's gift to all of us. जो भी हमारे गिफ्ट्स थे वो एक बहुत enhanced form में हमारे पास आ गए थे. So when I looked at the draft again, And now I knew for sure why I had to write a book on this old man's life. पहले मुझे बहुत डाउट था, मुझे था कि नहीं, मुझे कुछ मेरी एक फ्रेंड ने बुक लिखी थी, तो मैंने उससे पूछा था कि what made you write this book? So she said that she remembered through her meditations, she remembered that she had made a promise to Buddha that she will write a book on Buddha. So I was like, मैंने तो किसी से कोई प्रॉमिस नहीं किया, मुझे कौन सी बुक लिखनी है? डाउट्स की कोई सीमा ही नहीं है हमारे। पर खैर किताब का मैंने उसको रिविजिट करना शुरू किया, and friends, it went up several notches. You would not believe it. I could not believe it. That if the book was here initially, it had gone up beyond my capabilities at that point of time. So I revised the book, and the book went for publication, and it came out, and it's a bestseller on Amazon today. It got a golden star. They give you golden star if the book is doing well. So that is how, friends, my journey began, and now I'm at my next book. So मालूम नहीं था कि ये author material हम भी हो सकते थे, और मालूम कैसे चला? What is the doorway? Your breath is the doorway. To realize where your capabilities lie, to realize where your gifts lie. So what do I write in this book, friends? I knew that I could not write a book because there was not a third I master. And I'll tell you I'll just read out to you the note on which this book begins, because it sums up the entire thing just so beautifully. It's so touching and very interesting how this book how this thing I write, that also I'll just share with you. So it begins with this. These are words of the Buddha from the Dhammapada. However many holy words you read, however many you speak, what good will they do you if you do not act upon them? These lines are from the Buddha's Dhammapada, the sayings of the Buddha. And friends, बड़ी मजे की बात क्या है कि मैंने धम्मपदा को नहीं पढ़ा था, तो ये लाइंस कहां से आ गई? बस आ गई. They just happened because the book had to come, and this had to be the central tenet of the book, that how you bring about a personal transformation. Friends, I have always had a thing for third eye masters. कितना कुछ दिखता है, मुझे इतना फैसिनेटिंग लगता था. मुझे कभी नहीं दिखा, बट जब मैंने मेडिटेशन स्टार्ट किया, when initial stages, 2017 की बात बता रही हूँ आपको, the very first vision I had was that I was following this man in the woods, you understand, in a forested area. So in the woods, I'm following this man, and I look closely, and I see I'm following Gautama the Buddha, and very merrily, very happily, very joyously, I'm singing this song, Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami, Sangam Sharanam Gacchami. तो बस ये one of the very few visions थी जो मुझे आई थी, one of the very very few. बाकी क्या होता है कि मैं कुछ बहुत सोच रही हूँ तो वैसी विजन्स आपको थोड़ी थोड़ी आनी शुरू होती हैं, but generally I hit the zero state, and but when I got this quote from the Dhammapada, I was so delighted that yes, my book is going to be about this. Indeed, my story has been one of total transformation, and that is what I catalog in my book. So what are my chapters about? I have given these titles to the book which are like my babies. I don't know which one is better than the other. And like a very proud mother, I flaunt them. So the first chapter is called What the Hell Do You Want? So this chapter, What the Hell Do You Want, is my first chapter. And what do I write about in this chapter? So this was a time when everything was good in my life. I was not never a very materialistic person, But yes, I would run after degrees. Education would matter so much to me. Somebody who was well educated, that would nail it for me. So I had completed my PhD, and I told you I was still very incomplete, very unhappy. And my husband, who has always pampered me like a princess, I'm confiding in him that I want to run away. I'm not happy. And he had been working, he had been looking at his papers and files, and he looked up from his papers and files. And he got up and he placed his hand on my cheek and he said, Kajal, if you're not happy, I wonder who would be. And he was absolutely right. What was it that I wanted in my life? I did not know. And then this question came between us, what the hell do you want? So this crisis, I told him that I wanted to try meditation. And you know what was his reaction? He was like, you don't know, Kajal, these are all shops for fools like you. They are just money making machines. Don't waste your time and energy. And always, 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 without an exception, I have heard him and I have mostly agreed with him, but not today. I was so sure that I had to go and check out the meditation center. And I did, against his well meaning, but not well worded advice. So I went and I learned the technique I had already learned. I seen it on the internet and I had started it already. So this constitutes my first chapter when I, against his will and wishes, I have never, as as things would have it, I have never ever gone against his wishes. In fact, it's not that his wishes and my wishes have been two different things. No, we generally converge. But today we had diverged big time, and I was so uh, against driving and traveling. I took a whole circumvented route to reach the center and to meet sir. So this constitutes my first chapter, friends. And this brings me to my second chapter, and I bumped into the master. So I reached the meditation center, and I'm looking for the guru. Where is the guru? There is only one old bald man, and his only qualification for being a guru was his gray beard and his bald head. But he was sitting in the middle of everybody. He couldn't be the guru. I have seen gurus. I have had the good opportunity to catch up with a couple of gurus, and I have seen that there is distance, there is appointment business. The guru is there, and you are here, and there are people who are close to the guru, and only they can get into the inner circle. And the guru is fed with fruit and milk, and that's it. And when I come upon this old man, he is cooking himself. He is going to the kitchen often to start to karchi chalane ke liye. And he's sitting in the middle of everybody. He was so unguru like, oh my god. And and he was relishing sambar chawal and rasam. It was actually relishing them. And I am looking at him and I'm thinking, is this a guru? Is this what a guru is like? And he was not even looking at me. After the meditation session, he was asking people, बहुत थोड़े लोग थे उस टाइम पे, 20-30 लोग होंगे उस ड्राइंग रूम में, शास्त्री फैमिली के. And he's asking people to my left, people to my right, how the meditation experience was. And I was so sure he would ask me. Why? Because I'm so accustomed to being the center of attention for whatever reasons. Vanity, that thy name is woman. So I was saying, okay, he would definitely look at me. If he's a real guru, he would be able to see my aura. He would be able to see that I'm a meditator right in my aura. And he totally gave me a miss. He asked this woman to my left, he asked this woman to my right, totally giving me a miss. Ek aur jhatka. So I decided that I had to walk up to him. Sometimes women have to make the first move. I realized this was that moment when a woman has to make a move. So I walked up to him and he was eating his food. And I told him that I have been meditating on this flute music for the past many days. He gave me a very kind smile. I can never forget those big kind eyes. And then he looked into my eyes. You know, I have my eyes are small, rather small, and his eyes are big, real big. And you know, when he's looking into my eyes, deeply into my eyes, in my book, I struggle to describe this moment. I struggle to describe this look. Sometimes somebody stares at you because you're looking so gorgeous. Sometimes somebody stares at you because one is so angry. Sometimes one looks at you with such a lot of kindness. But Sir's gaze was a new gaze, which I had never come across. And I struggled to describe it in my book. So he's looking into my eyes, and I think he's looking through me. And he could look into me. You know, these are not the kind of adjectives, these are not the kind of prepositions you use for a look, looking into you, looking through you. It was as though I was being scanned. It was as though all my past lives lay open before him like a book. And while I'm trying to understand what's happening, I do the unthinkable. And can you guess what the unthinkable was? He's looking into my eyes penetratingly, and I don't know from where tears burst out. I am a bit of an emotional person, but I was meeting this man for the first time ever. And there was no reason for me to start shedding tears. He didn't even look like a guru. He looked like a guru only in the sense that he had a grey beard and a bald head. So that was only two criteria of being a guru he fulfilled. And he continued looking at me. He was not sympathizing with me. He was not even giving me a kind smile. No, the penetrating gaze continued. And I struggled to describe it in my book, friends. You know, एक ऐसा हिंदी में बोलते हैं, भाषा की एक सीमा होती है. There's a limit to language. It was that day that I discovered for the first hand what limit to language is. There are things you cannot put into words. However, so hard you try. वो सिर्फ आप जेस्टर कर सकते हो कि हाँ ऐसी लुक थी, हाँ वो ऐसे देख रहे थे, लेकिन वो कंप्लीट नहीं होता क्योंकि उसके लिए कोई शब्द ही नहीं है हमारी वोकैबुलरी में. So this was my first meeting, and I go out of the room because I am so embarrassed. I am an assistant professor. I'm shedding tears like a baby. और कोई कारण भी नहीं था, कुछ एक तो शब्द भी नहीं बोला था. You know, आपको होता है आपको किसी ने दो बात बोल दी, आपके दिल को छू गई हो, आपने कुछ ऐसा किया हो जो आपको विश्वास ना आप नहीं कर सकते थे, तो टीयर्स आ जाते हैं. So from where I don't know, those tears just did not stop coming. They just gushed out like a torrent. I could not stop. And my whole face was reddened. I was more embarrassed than anything else. And I go out and I wait for, you know, for it all to look very normal. I wanted it to look like a winter chill. It was very wintry cold day. And I wanted it to look like जैसे कोई बहुत ठंड में से आया तो उसके गाल नाक सब लाल हो जाते हैं. But you know, थोड़ा सा when I toned down, I could not make sense of what had happened in that one gaze, that penetrating gaze. I did not know what had happened, but something had shifted. Something had shifted in me. Some memories had been activated in that moment. This is what I describe in my this chapter, friends. And I bumped into the master. And you know, I also had this intuition that I'll just share with you. Yes, that I had to share. I had to put on paper. This book is intuition, guided by intuition. It's not guided by intellect. So I got this intuition that I had to put Sir's sketch. अब मैं सोच रही हूँ कौन बनाएगा सर का स्केच. मैं तो बहुत खराब हूँ स्केच बनाने में. सो मैंने 2-3 लोगों से 2-3 ग्रुप्स पे डाला कि कोई सर का स्केच बनाना चाहेगा. 2 or 3 sketches came to me. बट अल्टीमेटली आई ये भी मेरे को मेडिटेशन में आया था. सो आई एम सिटिंग एंड मेडिटेटिंग, और उस जो आप बिल्कुल जब जीरो स्टेट में चले जाते हो, आई गेट अ विजन, जैसे मेरे यहाँ पे कोई किसी ने मेरी आंखों के आगे ऐसे ऐसे धीरे धीरे करके कोई एक शेडेड पिक्चर ला रहा है. पेंसिल शेडेड होते हैं ना जैसे, देन आई गॉट द इंट्यूशन की शेडेड आएगी सर की पिक्चर, क्योंकि पहले मैं सर की फोटोग्राफ्स देख रही थी. आई गॉट टू नो कि शेडेड पिक्चर आएगी, और कौन सी है कि मैं जो देख रही थी, जो मेरे पास स्केचेस आ रहे थे, मैं somehow satisfied नहीं थी. एंड देन somebody sent me this sketch. This is a computer sketch and it came out so beautifully. So अपनी आप चीजें फ्रेंड्स हो रही थी. मैं सिर्फ एक मीडियम क्या कौन होता है ये मुझे उस टाइम समझ आया इस बुक को लिखने में. इससे पहले वाली बुक को लिखने में मुझे फिर भी लगता था कि मैं ऑथर हूं, मैं ट्रांसलेटर हूं. इस बुक के लिए ऐसा क्लेम करना would be blasphemy. चलिए, I take you through I don't want to take so much time. I don't want, but I'll just very quickly, I'll tell you about a couple of more
Ma'am,
chapters.
please carry on. We are simply enjoying your journey, and it's as if we are with you on it. Yeah, please continue.
Yeah. So then, friends, my relationship with my husband was always very beautiful. Everything in my life was beautiful, but my relationship with my elder one was always problematic. And this is my next chapter. Trying relations make the best teachers. So, I have मैं एक बहुत dominating parent थी. मैं dominating partner भी थी, लेकिन my partner was अपनी ईगो को बिल्ड अप कर लेते, मेरी चलती है. ये कभी नहीं रियलाइज किया उस पर्सन की ग्रेटनेस को जो आपकी चलने दे रहे. he could have also made it into an ego issue, but he never did. But my son, not the same with my son. So when he was a baby, I was very nasty to him. Today I can use this word. Today I can use this expression. क्यों? क्योंकि ध्यान में आकर आप अपना सच ही बोलते हो. आप उसको कवर अप करने की, उसको ब्यूटिफाई करने की कोशिश नहीं करते. नो मेकअप्स, ट्रूथ्स यू बिगिन टू से. That's your truth. These are your experiences, and you have to share them with the world. ध्यान ही सच नहीं बोलेंगे तो कौन बोलेगा? So I was a nasty parent, and my husband would often tell me, he would often counsel me that don't bullfight with him. He'll start no better person, and you should stop meditating. And I'm thinking कि क्यों मेरा ये रिश्ता इतना problematic है? क्यों ये लड़का मेरी बात नहीं सुनता? What is wrong with him? It's my bad karma for sure. Everything in my life is so beautiful. He's the only one who doesn't listen to me, who doesn't take my good counsel. बहुत उसको पार्टी करना है, बहुत उसको लेट नाइट पार्टी करना है. थिंग्स आई ट्रेडिशनली, जैसे हमारे पेरेंट्स हमको डिसअप्रूव करते थे, हमने भी वही आगे लेगेसी अपने बच्चों को दी. दिस इज रॉन्ग, यू शुड नॉट गो पार्टिंग, ऑल ऑफ दैट. एंड द रिफ्ट बिटवीन मी एंड हिम बिगैन टू ग्रो. इतना बड़ा वो खाई बनती जा रही थी बीच में. और मैं ये सोच रही हूँ कि चक्कर क्या इसके साथ, मैं कौन सी टेक्निक इसके साथ करवाऊं, इसका पास्ट लाइफ रिग्रेशन करवाऊं, ये कैसे ठीक होगा? कैसे ये मेरी बात सुनना शुरू करेगा? कैसे ये ध्यान में आएगा? ध्यान और वो बिल्कुल पोल्स अपार्ट लग रहे थे. सो इन दिस चैप्टर फ्रेंड्स, आई टॉक अबाउट this very thing, this crisis of relationship. So I'm thinking of many techniques. सोच रही हूँ ये वाली थेरेपिस्ट के पास चले जाएं, इस पास्ट लाइफ रिग्रेशनिस्ट के पास चले जाएं, इस आकाशिक रिकॉर्ड्स के बारे में जाने, इसके बारे में. और फिर मेरे सामने वो बुक्स आई. I got my hands at Khalil Gibran's The Prophet. And those lines, they took my breath away. These children are not your children. They come through you and not from you. तो आप तो सिर्फ एक माध्यम है इन बच्चों को लाने का. अपने आप को आप ये मत समझिए कि आपने इनको प्रोड्यूस किया और आप इनके क्रिएटर हैं और आप इनकी डेस्टिनी को डिसाइड करेंगे. थोड़ा झटका लगा. फिर ओशो आए, ओशो की बुक पढ़ी. My books have shaped up my consciousness in a big time. कुछ लोगों को लगता है नहीं किताब पढ़ने से कुछ नहीं होता. सर कोई बुद्धू नहीं थी कि उन्होंने मैं फॉर्मूला दिया कि 33% ध्यान, 30 जो हमको जो सारे जो 4 हमारे को गोल्डन रूल्स दिए हैं, ध्यान, स्वाध्याय, शाकाहार, सज्जन संगति, एक एक चीज की कीमत है. So I am looking for therapies and yet I'm coming across these books. And Osho tells us how we ourselves are inviting souls into this world. जब हम उस स्पेस में नहीं है एक हायर कॉन्शियसनेस को बर्थ करने के लिए, हमारे थ्रू बुद्धा क्यों नहीं आ सकते? हमारे थ्रू कोई क्यों महावीर नहीं आ सकते? क्यों? क्योंकि हमारी अपनी कॉन्शियसनेस हमने अवेकन नहीं करी. Okay, I was like, okay, fine. And ultimate nail in the coffin was when I came across the teachings of Essenes. Essenes are ancient masters. ऐसा बोलते हैं, ये आजकल ये बात रिवील हो रही है कि वो दूसरे प्लानिटरी सिस्टम्स से आए, वेरी हाई प्लानिटरी सिस्टम्स से, जहाँ पे बहुत हाई कॉन्शियसनेस टेक्नोलॉजी है. सो एसेंस की बुक पर जब एसेंस के बारे में जब पढ़ा और जाना, तो क्या आया मेरी आंखों के सामने कि जो हमारी लाइफ में प्रॉब्लम्स हैं वो हमारी ही अंदर की रिफ्लेक्शंस हैं. जो आपकी प्रॉब्लमेटिक रिलेशंस हैं वो आप ही को रिफ्लेक्ट कर रही हैं. तो ये मोमेंट था जैसे कि ब्लेम ढूंढ रही थी, कैसे ठीक करें, ये कैसे ठीक होगा. और क्या पता चल रहा है, ये तो सिर्फ रिफ्लेक्टर है. ही इज जस्ट रिफ्लेक्टिंग माई ओन पैटर्न्स. ओ माई गॉड, दिस मोमेंट took my breath away. मैं क्या करूं अब? मैं बार-बार मुझे ध्यान में रियलाइज हो रहा है that I have made a lot of mistakes with him. और इतनी इम्प्रेशनेबल एज पर आप किसी को इतना नेगेटिवली प्रोग्राम कर दो. I was so guilt ridden. I did not know what to do. And वहां पर उस पॉइंट पर सर की बातों से I just started following him, his precepts, no judgment. And I realized that I had been judging him. होता क्या था? I will judge him, he would also judge me. The world, friends, is a mirror. It's a reflecting surface. All your relationships are mirrors, be they at workplace, be they at home. Most importantly, they are your closest relationships. With your mom-in-law, who is a nagging mom-in-law, if you think is a nagging mom-in-law. More mom-in-laws, poor things, are the topmost in the list of people who nag you. Yeah, thanks for that quote. So my mom-in-law, my father-in-law, they are troublesome people. I'm so good. My husband is such a bad man. मैं कितनी अच्छी हूँ. My children are so troublemakers. I'm such a good mom. All these friends are fallacies. Why? Because your children, your relationships, your most intimate relationships are like reflecting mirrors. जो भी आपको बहुत परेशान कर रहा है, उसके साथ आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लिख के आए हैं. और मैंने जब ये सब पढ़ा, I started becoming grateful to my son for being the troublemaker in my life, because he was taking me forward on the path. अगर आपने पृथ्वी पर आकर ये नहीं सीखा, नॉन जजमेंट नहीं सीखी, अगर आपने पृथ्वी पर आकर सिर्फ आप प्रोसेसेस के पीछे भागते रहे, आपकी लाइफ आपने नहीं किया जो आप करने आए थे. यहाँ पर आप ध्यान करने सीखने तो आए हैं, लेकिन आपकी सेल्फ ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन करने के लिए आप आए हैं. एंड इफ दैट डजंट हैपन फ्रेंड्स, your mission is incomplete. So I stopped judging him. I stopped judging him totally. And I shut my mouth up. मुझे लगा कि मैं तो इस स्थिति में ही नहीं हूं कि मैं उससे कुछ बोल सकूं. जब तक आप और मैंने अपने थॉट्स उसके प्रति चेंज कर दी. I started appreciating the beauty in him, and I became so grateful to him. मुझे ऐसा लगा कि मेरे घर में एक हायर मास्टर आए हैं जो एक डिफिकल्ट रोल लेके आए हैं, कि उनको कोई बहुत परेशान कर रहा है. आप और वो उस सोल ने मुझे मेरे साथ एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट क्यों किया होगा? आउट ऑफ लव फॉर मी, मुझे जगाने के लिए. माय हस्बैंड इज आल्सो लव मी, बट उनके साथ मैं एज अ पर्सन तो अच्छी हुई, लेकिन मैं स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ में नहीं. बट विद माय सन, जिससे मैं इतनी चिढ़ती थी, उसने मुझे स्पिरिचुअल पाथ पर आगे बढ़ाया. तो ही आपको मालूम भी नहीं होता कि कौन आपको आगे बढ़ा रहा है. जिससे आप इतना चिढ़ रहे हैं वो आपको आगे बढ़ा रहा है. With my mom-in-law also, I didn't have a bad relationship. I have a okay relationship with her, like you have with most mom-in-laws. और मुझे ये only recently मुझे ऐसा लगता था मैं अपना काम करूंगी. I would not even talk much with her, क्योंकि हम सेम प्लेन पर नहीं है. ये फैक्ट है. सोल लेवल पर हम सेम प्लेन पर नहीं है. तो मुझे लगता था मुझे पूरा टाइम कपड़े, रिश्तेदार और खाने के बारे में नहीं बात करनी है. There's a world beyond that I've already discovered. बट फिर मुझे किसी के थ्रू क्या मैसेज मिला कि you are not spending time with her. Whether you like what she says or not, she's teaching you patience. Another moment. Friends, कितनी learnings है मालूम. आपके पढ़ाई तो मेरी हो गई थी ओवर, ले ली थी मैंने PhD, लेकिन ये जो आपकी सेल्फ ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की पढ़ाई है, इट इज एन अनएंडिंग बिजनेस. इसका कोई अंत नहीं है. ये चीज रियलाइज करना एक बहुत बड़ा आहा मोमेंट था मेरी लाइफ में. So I cataloged my own journey of my journey with my son in this book. And in the next chapter I talk about my younger one. So my younger one, I always knew that I would have second child would be a baby girl, and I was anticipating with happiness the birth of baby girl. It was written in my planetary charts. I was heavily into planets and astrology and birth charts, because the astrologer was a very close family friend whose not one prediction has gone wrong. ये भी एक बड़ी great science है. So we must always be grateful for this science. ये science में तो हमको higher realm से किसी master ने सिखाई है. So I always knew that I would have a baby girl. Came the big day, and the baby was born, and the doctor congratulated me. Congratulations for a healthy baby boy. I was like, what? I was to have a baby girl. This can't be. तो वो मुझे लगा नहीं, मुझे तो एक बेटी चाहिए. ये बेटा कहाँ से आ गया? और it was since the case was pretty normal, we both were discharged the next day. And a couple of days into his new home, and the baby fell really ill. And he had to be hospitalized. And I was wanting to meditation at this point of time, but I realized कि ये बच्चे ने unwelcome feel किया इस world में. Children are who've lived inside, they live there inside their mother's womb. They become the mother only. वो आपके शरीर का एक हिस्सा हो जाते हैं. They are the inside people. So वो अपनी mother की सारी emotions को read कर सकते हैं. He must have realized being unwelcome in the world. And I had an intuitive knowingness that I must ask him for forgiveness. And I must tell him that he is loved and he's welcome in my space. मैं exactly pen down नहीं कर सकती कि मेरी ही feeling की वजह से ये हुआ, लेकिन ये हुआ. और ये realization भी थी कि हम एक बच्चे के gender पे इतना focus है हमारा कि matlab, instead of being grateful for the birth of a healthy, happy child, you're so fixated on the child's gender of all the things. So my younger one helped me to break free from these conditionings. In this chapter, he asks me, Mama, you didn't want me? He had overheard me saying this to my sister. तो मुझे समझ गया कि मैं उसको क्या जवाब दूं. He was everybody's blue-eyed boy, and it was difficult कि मुझे इसको तो पता चल गया. तो ये इस चैप्टर में मैं ये बताती हूँ, और साथ में इस चैप्टर में मैं ये भी बात करती हूँ that how when I got into meditation, he also got into meditation, and he began to have some wonderful experiences. And you know, your children open portals for you. वो आपके लिए नए दरवाजे खोल देते हैं जो जिनके बारे में आप सोच भी नहीं सकते. And since he got into meditation, I also started realizing that he began to have a crystal clarity into उसको life में क्या करना है. So I was telling him that you learn vocal music. He's a guitarist. So I was telling him to learn vocal music. And he was merely 9 years old. And you'll be surprised at what he told me. I have my own path. You know, I was, होता नहीं कोई आपके मुंह पे चांटा मार के आपको चुप कराए. It was that moment for me. To think that you can, आप किसी की डेस्टिनी को, आप किसी के पाथ को कैसे दिखा सकते हैं? आप सिर्फ गाइड कर सकते हैं, लेकिन ये बोला कि तुम गिटार प्ले करते हो तो तुमको गाना भी गाना ही चाहिए साथ में, गाना भी सीखना ही चाहिए साथ में. तो यहाँ पर my children have, everybody's children actually, if you look at it, all your intimate relations are making you evolve. This is why this chapter, friends, and I think I've taken a lot of time. तो मैं आपको बहुत जल्दी से 2-3 titles और बता देती हूँ. So 7th chapter is how dare you touch me. This was the moment my very loving husband raised his hand on me. That was unbelievable. कि उन्होंने मेरा आर्म ट्विस्ट किया. और ये वो मोमेंट था जब मेरा और मेरा बड़े वाले बेटे का मेरे बड़े वाले बेटे का एक कॉन्फ्रंटेशन फिर हो रहा था, बिग टाइम हो रहा था. And you know, he always supports me. Yeah, he remains quiet. But today, something happened. Something came over him. And he became physically abusive. I could not believe it. I am the first love of his life. And how could he? How dare he? It was night time. This is my chapter. How dare you touch me? So it was night time and I decided to walk out of the house. Not because I was leaving or something. इतनी आधी रात तो कोई कौन जाएगा और तमाशे कौन public करे. So not because I was leaving the house, but I really wanted some cool off time. It was late in the night. I went and sat in a park. Tears were rolling down my eyes. It had never happened. I have already shared at several junctures in the book that I have been the first love of his life, first and last love of his life, I should say. So constantly I'm thinking, मुझे इस moment पे I should have been blaming him कि कैसे behave किया ऐसा किया कैसे? लेकिन मेरा inner talk क्या चल रहा है? He cannot do anything wrong. It is all my karma. This was unbelievable. I was unable to blame him. And I'm thinking कि ये तो मेरा ही कर्मा है, मेरा ही पास्ट है जो मेरे को रिविजिट कर रहा है. तो मतलब मैंने ये रियलाइज किया कि ये जो चीजें मैं पढ़ रही थी, जो बोल रही थी, वो एक बहुत डीप लेवल पर उतर चुकी थी. उस लेवल पर उतर चुकी थी कि आपका कोई खून भी कर दे तो आप जानते हैं कि ये आपने ही कुछ किया है जो आपको रिविजिट कर रहा है. ये बोलना बहुत आसान है फ्रेंड्स. इट इज वेरी इजियर सेड देन डन. जो लाइफ के लेसन है ना वो बड़े इंटरेस्टिंग होते हैं, वो आपको बहुत आसान दिखने में लगते हैं. आज आपको आईएएस का एग्जाम क्लियर करना हो, वो आपको लगेगा माय गुडनेस, द टफेस्ट एग्जाम ऑफ माय लाइफ. नो, यू आर एब्सोल्युटली रॉन्ग. योर टफेस्ट exams are happening right here, right now. So I'm crying and I'm unable to blame him. In the meantime, he's sending me messages. Kaajal, I can't believe I did this. I'm so extremely sorry. रात बहुत हो गई थी बाहर बैठे बैठे. वापस आना ही था घर. I came back. And When I came back, he was ready to fall at my feet. And the moment he saw me, he said, "I'm really sorry, Kajal, I mean it." I knew he meant it. And I'm telling him, it's not your fault. It's all my karma. वो जैसे वो आप एक बलून को फुस कर देते हैं ना, नॉर्मली हमारी गेम वूइंग गेम होती है एक लड़ाई के बाद. You get upset. He or she, in case it is your wife who is upset and she comes to, मतलब एक जना जो भी आता है he or she, तो वो आपको बहुत सॉरी बोलते हैं, बहुत प्लेकेट करने की कोशिश करते हैं, बहुत स्वीट वर्ड्स बोलते हैं. वो सब की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी उसे. माय हस्बैंड डिडंट नीड ऑल ऑफ दोस. लेकिन उसको नहीं समझ आया कि वो कैसे रिएक्ट करे इस सिचुएशन में. कि मैंने, ही इज थिंकिंग ऑन हिज एंड, ही इज थिंकिंग कि मैंने, आई हैव डन रॉन्ग, आई हैव रॉन्ग्ड her and I must apologize profusely. And she's saying, no, it's my karma, it's okay. Then we both went off to sleep, went off to lie in bed. And then he placed his hand on my shoulder and he said, Kajal, I really mean it. When you went away, I sat in meditation. I wanted to understand how could I do that with you. And then, he got the answer. I'm not a visual person. I go into a zero state. But he is a very visual person. And in his meditation, he came to know कि इसका पास्ट का स्टोरी क्या था. ये जो इंसिडेंट हुआ हमारी लाइफ में, ये हम कहाँ से लेकर आ रहे हैं. तो फ्रेंड्स, ये, आई मीन, माय बुक इज अ compilation of my aha moments. The most significant thing that I write about in this book is about sexuality. Me and my husband, we differed. He thought I should not write it all. तो मैंने उनसे सिर्फ एक बात बोली, since he is also into meditation, we are now in a position to talk things out fully, in all honesty. I just asked him one thing, कि अगर हम सच नहीं बोलेंगे, जो लोग ध्यान में आए हैं, अगर वो सच नहीं बोलेंगे तो कौन बोलेगा? And that was the end of that question. That was the end of his doubt that I shouldn't include a chapter on sexuality in my book. He was like, नहीं, बाद में देख लेना, फिर कभी देखेंगे, अभी मत लिखो ये chapter. And I was so sure I wanted to write a chapter on it. One, women are so sexually repressed. We as a society have been told that sexuality is a sin. And you don't even know, चाहे आपको कॉन्शियसली नहीं मालूम होगा, लेकिन हमारे सबकॉन्शियस में ये फैक्ट कूट कूट कर भरा हुआ है, sexuality is a sin. What made me overcome this sin? What made us as a couple overcome this sin? What made us look at things from a fresh perspective? कि ये आपकी सेक्सुअलिटी भी आपकी डिविनिटी का एक्सप्रेशन है, क्योंकि कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं है जो नॉन स्पिरिचुअल है. जब आपकी आंख है तो हर चीज स्पिरिचुअल है, एंड दैट इंक्लूड्स योर सेक्सुअलिटी. सो दिस चैप्टर, no secrecy, is called No Secrecy About Intimacy. And it is one of my very, as I tell you, every chapter is my baby, my very, very dear baby. But this chapter, writing this chapter was very important to me. Perhaps I was carrying some sexual wrong belief systems from my past lives. Is life ka to nahi janti. My parents are a loving couple. We have always sensed their loving vibration. लेकिन कुछ तो हमने अपने पेरेंट्स से, कई जनरेशन से सेक्सुअलिटी के बारे में रॉन्ग नोशंस कैरी करी हैं. And it's time to read about them, to talk about them. And friends, I'm just winding up this section because I can go on and on. और last chapter पे आते हैं friends. ये last chapter है मेरा, LOLs, where does a Buddha even go? So in this last chapter, I talk about Sir vacating his body, and my feeling of the feeling I had that Sir had cheated us. So I begin this chapter, and in the end, I end this book with a letter to Sir. It's a love letter, and I begin it with, "Hey, old man, I never knew that I could write a letter. Letter writing was a lost art to me. But look, you're making me do it again. You made me sit on my laptop like crazy and work like crazy." And that was true. And I end this letter. And I also had this intuition that ये लेटर सिर्फ मेरी तरफ से नहीं होगा, ये सभी लाइट वर्कर्स की तरफ से होगा. और इसी नोट पे ये letter end करता है from all light workers. To serve with love from all light workers. And friends, here my book ends. It has some 21 chapters in it. And I can promise you that you're going to love them. And I think that's it. Now the house is open for your comment.
Absolutely. So overwhelming, Kajal ma'am. I was with you in your journey, and at so many points saying, oh, this is us, like that. Such an honest and a bold expression, I would say. Certain things, even when if anyone plans to write a book, you want to become, one that to go that person kind of a thing, the best and things like that. But the way you have honestly expressed all your incidents from your life, and which everybody goes through, but is not bold enough to share, So I'm absolutely going to read this book. And if you remember, I was totally present there at that pyramid when Sir inaugurated your book. And you were in tears. You could not speak because obviously the way his physical body was that day, everyone was under a shock. So I remember you were just standing and crying. You were not able to speak. So So, okay, I open the platform for anyone. Kindly switch on your cameras for once. I want to take a screenshot of the entire gallery. And I'm definitely going to read this book, Kajal ma'am. It is so us, basically. I could resonate at so many places. Yeah, absolutely. So I want everybody's camera on for a second, please. It hardly matters what you're wearing, where you're sitting. Just if you're there, then that's it. Okay. Here goes. 1, 2. Just for a second, Kiran ma'am, your camera on, please. You were on all the time and you've switched off now. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for that photograph. And now if anybody else wants to ask Kajal ma'am anything or share your feelings, I'm sure some chapter I've already, as if she's given us a tour in the entire book, but yes, I have to read it. Bala ma'am, right ma'am? Yes, Bala ma'am. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, hi, Kajal. This is Bala. Hi, Jasbir.
Yes, ma'am. So nice to see you here.
Nice to see you.
We are actually in the Thinking and Destiny group, and we are struggling to understand that book.
Yes.
I'm like the most dumb student. I just sit quietly over there because it all goes over my head. And I have to hear the YouTube video once again to understand something out of it. That intense. Yes, Bala ma'am, please.
Yeah, it's a wonderful journey what Kajal was explaining about. And like you said, very boldly, very frankly, she mentioned all the things. It's amazing. Normally, especially women, it's very hard for us to express all those things. But it's really audible. I mean, like it's amazing. How well, how frankly you expressed all your emotions and everything in your book. I'm sure. What's the name of the book? I missed in the first part.
This is the book, and I thought only monks could meditate.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wonderful. Yeah. Good luck. I really want to read. Sure. But
I think it's available on Amazon. Yeah.
It is available. It is available, friends, across the world. Whichever country one is in, it's available on Amazon and Flipkart. In Kindle edition also, and in paperback also. This is paperback.
Lovely, lovely.
Thank you. Sure. Wonderful. And also one more thing. Whenever you are speaking, I was looking at her. I can see aura all around her.
You have mentioned in the chat also. I read it.
Yeah. The blue and white aura. I was looking at her, all through. Wonderful. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Bala ma'am. So nice to see
Thank
you here. I wish you join
Nice to
every
see you.
Sunday and add to my energies here. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, who's that? Yeah, Vindhya ma'am.
Thank you,
Yes, ma'am.
Kajal ji and Jasbir ji. Thank you for sharing this link, and I was able to join. I think I was destined to listen to this, so thank you very much. Even the meditation, the forgiveness meditation that we did was beautiful. And Kajal ji, just like how Balaji said and Jasbir ji said, so candid, your thoughts, everything so open. And I love the way you took us through your journey. When I heard the title of your book, I had read like Monk Who Sold his Ferrari or How to Think Like a Monk. And I said, okay, another monk book, which those were good too. But this one is so close to my heart. It's like as if you were writing about us, each one of us. So,
Yes.
yeah, every little thing you explained, of course, meeting with Patricia was great. And but when you talked about how you always want, when your child was born, you wanted a girl. I have two boys, and I don't know. I always wanted a girl, and I thought my second boy was a girl, and I kept telling him also I had a name ready for a girl. And even though my scan showed he was a boy, I was like, no, it could be. I never realized that they would feel unwelcome until you were lucky enough to be in meditation at that time. I got into meditation past 4 years. So I really have to do meditation and ask for forgiveness from my children, I feel, because I thought it was nice to feel that I wanted a girl, I have two boys. But now I can see how they might have felt unwelcome. I love them, but that was one thing. And even my, being boys, somehow I couldn't really always understand what they wanted. And when you explained about your oldest son, that too, I too have been listening to Shreyan's that and those SE mirrors and relationships being mirrors, and I've also tried to change and trying to understand they're here to teach us, and including my husband. I too had a moment when we had an argument and I left the house, and I've been thinking all these things. I think all of us go through this. So thank you so much, and. Yes, I really appreciate. I'm looking forward to reading your book, and of course, being bold enough to bring in sexuality and how we shouldn't see it as being in India and being from traditional families. We always are very, tight-lipped about it and very reserved. That's how we are, and I realize it is something that connects us so much. Why do we look at it with such?
रानी 9 बज गए हैं.
Thank you.
We all know 9 baj gaye hain, but please keep yourself mute. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Yeah, Kiran ma'am. So nice to see you too.
Yeah.
Kajal ma'am, you have to keep coming often because you're drawing on the crowd. Yes, Kiran ma'am.
Thank you so much.
She's the youngest on our group, okay? Kiran is youngest on our group. Yes,
I
ma'am.
could relate to every chapter you were saying and talking about, and almost in tears. I think I was also crying so much here on the other side. I wish this book had come in 15 years before or 20 years. It would have done so much good to everything. But nevertheless, I'm going to present it to my daughters.
Yeah, you should. You must.
Thank you so much. It was an amazing session, and your honesty was so touching. I can't tell you. One has to be very brave to be saying all these things, and bahut acha laga. Keep doing that, please. Don't change.
Yes, ma'am. As Kiran ma'am
Anything in the
says,
world, I would not change. Friends, I just want to tell you that at the end of each chapter, there is a tip, there are videos, and there are books.
Okay.
chapter, which I found very valuable, and I share them with you.
Sure. Again, Jaspreet ma'am, thank you so much, Rohanji, for the lovely
Pleasure.
meditation. The whole
Yes, sir.
morning was very beautiful and amazing. Like it.
Yes,
Thank you
yes,
so
sir.
much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
As Kiranam says, everyone has been there, done that, everything. But it needs courage and so much of perseverance to bring it out, all out to everyone.
Especially if you
yes.
say you are spiritual, then you feel very,
Yeah.
okay, should I say all this or not? And you have done it so boldly and so beautifully, it's come through you that it is amazing. Hats off. Thank you.
I'm sure you must have inspired quite a few more to bring out their personal experiences in writing in a book like that.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
that we all speak our truth. It's time to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And meditation gives us the courage, to come out with the truth. Yeah.
Perfect.
We always, we generally, as you said in the beginning, that always wanting attention, how dare that person did not give me attention like that. So that's what stages in our life. And then we have to be brought to a jolt. Look here, turn around. It's not all about you. And you have been messing up things also. So we have to accept that also sometimes. Anyone else? Or I must read this book. Yeah, Mukesh? Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kaajal, for inspiring me enough. I'm already, I could relate to so many things, what you said. And one additional thing was that I went through the similar experience of translating certain books. And I also had a privilege of translating one of 50% of the book, Questions and Answers by Patriji. So a couple of articles also I've done in Hindi. So I could relate to each and everything, almost everything, right from the writing experiences to the personal experiences. So it was wonderful catching up with you, and I think I'll be getting in touch with you shortly because I'm on the similar journey. So your experience is going to guide me. Thank you.
So Dr. Kaajal, you're the brand ambassador of this group now, and continue to inspire us. Yes, ma'am. So I think that is Deepak. Deepak, sir, you want to speak?
Yeah, good morning. It was excellent that you brought us and we could hear her journey. We have been hearing one quote. I'm not going to repeat what had been said, that the courage and everything what she brought out in a book. Of course, I wrote that what made her inspired to write all this. I mean, what was the turning point when she wrote the book? But we have been reading that what you can't change, you accept that. Today, she has analyzed that why should we accept what we can't change, and what is the reason behind. I mean, why should we accept what we can't change? There is much more to it, and which she has explained. Thank you so much, Kaajal ji.
Thank you. Thank you, Deepak sir. Thank you. So I think that's about all.
Thank you, Kaajal ji. I think even I had the same experience. Almost, I was not into meditation for ages, means till last 2 years. Only in 2020, I got in touch with Patri sir and PMC. Last 2 years, I have been meditating along with Jasbir ji. Almost, we were in the same JTTP batch.
Number 2, JTTP 2.
And we can see how transformed Jasbir ma'am has become. So same so as well. In fact, this book, the way you explained it, I think it's anyone who's starting fresh also, who is having so many questions in life, why are we here? I think this is the best book. So anyone, we should recommend this book to all, who are starting the journey or who are having questions. What is life about? It's not just, work and earn money and so those things. Am I audible?
Yeah. As I used to earlier say that You Can Heal Your Life should be your first book, because that was my first book. But I think for all the newcomers, I'm definitely going to recommend your book to be the first book, because it will give a lot of reasons for them to get into meditation. Yes, ma'am. So it was such a pleasure. And once is not enough. I'm definitely going to invite you more often here. And this is your channel. And We are all together in the same journey, and you're really, really going to inspire all of us. Thank you so much, Dr. Kaajal, for being with us. It was an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I've
Thank
shared
you.
the link. I've shared the link with just ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, for the book.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so as we all know, next week we are going to start revising our Bhagavad Gita again and take up a few verses which I have understood from Dr. Ranjan. And it has been another very beautiful part of my journey. And Sanjana ma'am and me and Vishali, we are collectively going to attempt understanding these verses as we have understood. So all of you, please be there next week, Sunday morning, same time, 6:30. So see you, all of you, and have a lovely Sunday, a very happy Sunday, the way we have started. Let us continue to remain in the same meditative state and inspired by Dr. Kaajal, become bolder and be more expressive. Thank you so much, ma'am, and have a lovely Sunday, all of you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.